learners, welcome to this channel, and in this video I am going to solve Leetcode 1321 question, restaurant growth. This question comes under medium category question. They have given a table called customer, and the name of the columns are customer ID, name, visited on, and the amount, and these are the respective data types. So let me read out the question. In SQL, customer ID, comma, visited on is the primary key for this table. So what do you mean by a primary key? Primary key is the column which has unique and non-null values, and customer ID and visited on together is a primary key for this particular table. So this table contains data about customer transactions in a restaurant. Visited on is the date on which the customer with customer ID has visited the restaurant. Amount is the total amount paid by the customer. So you are the restaurant owner and you want to analyze a possible expansion. There will be at least one customer every day. Compute the moving average of how much the customer paid in a 7 days window. Current day plus 6 days before. Average amount should be rounded to 2 decimal places. Return the result table ordered by visited on in ascending order. So what they're asking us to find out is, so there is a particular restaurant. Okay. So every day at least one customer visits that restaurant. So there is a name of that customer and the customer ID and what particular date that customer has came to the restaurant and what amount they have paid to the restaurant, right? So what they're asking us to find is we need to find the moving average. So on particular current date, that how much amount they have collected plus the 6 days before how much amount they have collected, the total amount that we need to find. So it's not just about the amount, we also need to find the moving average. So for that particular day and the 6 days before, what is the average amount that would be gained by the restaurant? That we need to find out. So let us go through the example which is given below and understand how we can solve this question. Alright, so they have given an example below, a customer table. So there are 4 columns: customer ID, name, visited on, and the amount. So as you can see, 2019-0101. So on this particular date, John has visited and paid amount of 100, and Daniel on the second day, Jade on the third day, Khaled on the fourth day, Winston on fifth day, Elvis on sixth day, Anna on seventh, Maria on eighth day, Chase at ninth day, John at 10th day, and Jade at 10th day. So you also have to make, like, as you can see from the example given below, on that particular given date, not just it limits that only one customer can, enter the restaurant or visit the restaurant. More than one person can visit. For example, here, the ID 1 and 3, that is John and Jade, have visited on the same particular date. Like one has paid 130 rupees, another has paid 150 rupees. So you also have to make sure about that. So if you are calculating from this date, okay, so if this is the date, this is the current date, so you need to add the amount that is received on that particular date and the 6 other dates together, and also have to find the average. So as you can see, amount and the average. So then 8 date, so then 6 amount, then 6 other days before, which will be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and the total amount and the average. Same goes for 9th. 9th it will be till 3rd, and 10th it will be till 4th. Okay, so that is how you have to calculate. So how you can do is, first we need to group by the visited on, so that whenever that particular date, how much amount is calculated. So total amount which is calculated on that particular date. So we can make another column as total amount on particular date, how much total amount we have calculated. All right, so let me start writing the code and I will make you understand parallelly. All right, so from the table called customer, we need to group by visited on, right? Visited on, and what and all we need to select. We need visited on because in the output table visited on is there, and visited on, and we need the sum, right? Let me first calculate on the particular date. Okay, so what is the total amount received on together? What is the total amount received? That is 130 plus 150. I'll create another column. Okay, so the sum of amount has, I will alias it as total amount. You can alias it as any name you want. Okay, so this table will be having, okay, I will show you to you. Let me copy this table and show it to you here. Okay, I'll paste it here. Okay, so this is the table that they have given, which is customer, right? So from this table, what and all I'm going to take, I'm going to group by the visited on so that the next table will look like this. Okay, let me copy this and paste it here. Okay, so I don't want these. Okay, how do I delete this? How the table is going to look like, but here how because this is grouped by, right, so this will not be present. So here it will be here and 150 is going to be here. Okay, so let me create another column which is total amount. That is what I have selected, visited on, and the total amount, right? Amount will not be there. I'm going to erase it. Okay, so let me create another column which is called as total amount. Okay, so here the total amount is going to be 100. Then the total amount is going to be 110. Here the total amount is going to be 120. Here the total amount is going to be 130. Here the total amount is going to be 110. Okay, here the total amount will be 140, 150, 80, 110, and here it will be 130. All right, this is how it's going to look like, this one. All right, so what we need was the moving average for the particular current date and 6 days before, the total amount as well as average amount. So what I'm going to do it is, I'm going to save it in a common expression table by using the with clause. You can name anything. I'm going to name it as Nick as and enclose it within the brackets. All right, so let me erase this. Okay, and tell you what we can do. So from the table which is called Nick, okay, so what and all we need to select? We need to select the visited on, okay, and visited on, and we need the moving average as well as the total sum for that current date and the 6 days before. So I'm going to take the sum of the total amount which I have aliased it over here. Okay, so that for total amount. Okay, and we need to use if you want to find the moving average, I'm going to use here a window function. Okay, so for using a window function you have to use the over clause, and I'm going to order by the visited on. Okay, visited on, and you need that current row and 6 rows above, right? So we are going to use this clause which is rows between 6 preceding and current row. So it is going to find the sum of the current row and the 6 preceding rows. Okay. Okay. So this is what we have got, and we need to alias it as amount. Okay. So after finding that, we just don't need the amount of particular current date and 6 days before. We also need the average amount, and so I'm going to use the same thing. I'm going to say copy the same line of code, and the only change over here would be I need to find the average, and it would be average amount. Okay, so they have also given that we need to round the average amount to 2 decimal places. For rounding we are going to use another function which is called round. Okay, and we need to round it to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to place 2 over here. So what we have got a visited on column, the total 6 rows, as well as the average of the current row and the 6 preceding one from this table. Okay, but as you can see, we need from this particular date, because on the first date, if the person has visited, only we cannot find that particular current date and 6 days before, because those dates does not exist, right? The same goes for this date and this particular date, fourth date, fifth date, sixth date. From seventh date it is possible, because on that current date and the 6 days before. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enclose again this with a common expression table. So as you can already used with clause, so I'm just going to put a comma, and you don't have to use with. Okay, so you can name anything. Okay, so nick2 as this. So this will be having all these things, right? So what I need the date to start from 7th date, right, of 2019. So I, from the table called nick2, where I'm going to filter it out, visited on is greater than or equal to this particular date, right? So how am I going to get that particular date? I'm going to select the visited on from nick2. This is this table, right? So from nick2, and I'm going to order by the visited on, and I'm going to limit it to 1. So what I have done here is, so I'm filtering. So wherever the visited on is there, it should start from this particular date. So what I'm going to do is, it should be greater than or equal to, I have selected the visited on column from this nick2 table, that common expression table, and I have ordered it by visited date, and I have limited to 1. So it means that only first row is going to get selected. Okay, so it means that this date is going to get selected. Okay, after the date is got selected, we need the, so what I have done here is, from the table, common expression table called nick2, I have selected the visited on in such a way that I have filtered, it should be greater than or equal to the visited on table from the nick2, which is common expression table. I have ordered it by the visited on. So it will be in the ascending order. So from that, I have limited it to 1. It means that only first row is going to get selected. So that is, this row is going to get selected. And I don't want it from the first row. I want it from the 7th row, right? So I have to add something for that. So I'm going to add 6. If I add 6 to here, it will go to this particular row. That is 2019-01 plus 6. So it will go to 2019-01-07. So it is going to point it over here. After that, I need all the amount and average amount. So you have solved it, right? So you have got the visited on. It should start from this particular date, and that from that particular date, you need to calculate the total amount and the average amount. So what I have going to do is, I'm going to add 6 over here. And what and all rows that we need select visited on. Okay, and we need the amount, right? So amount, comma, we need the average amount. So average amount. So that's all. Let me run it and show it to you whether you face any difficulties or not. And I'll explain it to you again so that you don't get confused. Okay, so we have got the same answer as the expected answer. So let me explain it to you again. So what I exactly did was, I selected the visited on. I grouped it by visited on, so that all the particular date and amount, I have created another column which is called as total amount. So on that particular date, how much total amount was, collected from the restaurant, and I have made it a common expression table and saved it in one particular table named as nick. In another table, nick2, what I did was, I calculated uh, the moving average sum and moving sum. So what I did was, I selected the visited on from the nick table, which is common expression table. I calculated the total sum for that current date and 6 date before that by using this clause. I did the same for the moving average, and I rounded it to the 2 decimal places, and I stored it in the nick2. So as they have told that we need to start the visited on date from this particular date, what I need to do is, what I did was, I again filtered the visited on by applying the condition that it should be greater than or equal to. I selected the visited on from this nick to a common expression table. I limited to the first by after ordering it by the visited on. So it selected the first row and I added 6. So it goes to this row. So all the visited on dates will come from this particular row, that this one and 6 other. All the sum and average will be calculated. Next it will go to 8 and 6 other. All the sum and average will be calculated. Same goes for 10th. It will be till this and ninth as well. Alright, so that's what I have did. After that, I have selected the visited on because in the output table, we need visited on, the amount and the average amount. So that's it I have done. Let me submit it and show it to you. Whether it passes all the test cases or not. And it passes all the test cases. All right, so that's it as a solution for the question 1321 restaurant growth. I hope you understood this question. It was kind of tricky, but I solved it using the common expression table. So, well, thank you for watching. Have a great day.